hear, and I forget. I see, and I remember. I do, and I understand. This proverb illustrates the philosophy of an innovative training project for refugees from Southeast Asia. The project is operated on the Indonesian island of Galang by a consortium of the Experiment in International Living and Save the Children Federation. The project is called Petco, the Pre-Employment Training Corporation. Petco evolved from earlier pre-employment training programs and is part of the Regional Training Program for Refugees, funded by the U.S. Department of State since 1980. Petco deals with complex cross-cultural problems in a practical, down-to-earth manner. The lessons learned and the successes achieved on Galang can be adapted to other situations and other times when large numbers of people might have to rebuild their lives in a new and different culture. This video program about Petco on Galang is dedicated to future trainers who might find value in seeing what was done there. Four of the developers of pre-employment training for refugees are Bernie Zabrowski, Claude Pepin, Ancilla Murdiastudi, and Per Christensen.
At that time, we decided to develop a basic job skills and pre-employment with the emphasis on pre-employment training program and identified a series of skills. We also started to consider various methodologies for imparting those skills. And based on our previous experience and the nature of the learning population, we felt it was important to have something that was all-involving and in as many ways as possible simulated the immediate reality of the situation that they would find themselves. Those are were the beginnings of what is now the Petco simulation that's operated in Galang, as well as the whole pre-employment training component which is implemented in Southeast Asia. At that time, I contacted Per Christensen, who had had a lot of experience in non-formal adult education and who had developed and worked with methodologies and approaches to working with adults that were, one might say, more holistic in their approach, that dealt with some of the underlying skills that would be required for the American workplace.
If you look back at American history, when industrialization first started, people who operated cloth mills had to deal with individuals who came from farms that were really very, very similar to these farms of people in the rural areas in Southeast Asia. These individuals did not know how to read and write usually. They had no background of coming into an employer-run environment. So that the whole history of the American workplace was how to set something up where you can get this type of person in, put them to work, and with a minimum of on-the-job training, have everything work right. So there's a certain receptivity there from the standpoint of how the workplace is designed, which was already here before the latest group of immigrants or refugees arrived.
What we wanted to do was try to have some kind of coherent program where the program was not just a set of activities teaching people some basic skills, but trying to do it in a way that's going to have some meaning for them right at that time, but also be of significance and of use to them when they got to the States.
How I approached it was to make use of an educational system that was developed in Scandinavia about 100 years ago, and which my father went through. I really inherited part of this from my father, where people would always be given the challenge of making something useful, but something that they felt looked nice. And as much as possible in the activities, we've tried to leave some latitude for that.
One of the things we thought we'd do in planning the program was to take the ordinary table lamp and use that as a focal point to develop a whole series of activities that would be very practical for the refugees, and that they could apply their skills immediately within their own home if they were living in a home or when they got to the States. But also that these skills would be useful for them in certain kinds of job settings.
And so pre-employment training became an important element in the regional program to help refugees prepare for resettlement in the United States. Chuck Schumacher, who is now the Petco Coordinator, was there when Petco began. In 1984, he attended a task force meeting on pre-employment training and then returned to Galang.
After a few days, we just hit on the idea that what we should be doing is acting like we were a workplace, not just for one day, for one simulation, one lesson, not for individual events, but throughout the entire 6 weeks of training. And the idea just clicked in our minds after discussing ideas for a whole week. It just seemed perfect.
Petco is a simulated American company. Refugees participate in Petco after 12 weeks of training in American culture and English. Prior to training, they do not know how to read, speak, or write English. Some are literate in their native language, some are not. The American and Indonesian teachers in the program function as supervisors in the corporation. The refugee students function as employees. The students proceed through a series of interrelated simulations, such as a factory, a restaurant, a bank, and a department store. They learn what an American supervisor will expect of them, and they learn how to communicate on the job. During their 6 weeks of Petco work orientation, they develop confidence in themselves and in their ability to enter and succeed in the American workplace.
What we're trying to do is to create a laboratory, a workplace laboratory, which covers the entire 6-week period. The students are with us for actually about 32 days of working. We call it working because we call them workers within the simulation, but they're actually our students.
By using simulations, it's easy for both for the students and the teachers, since we are talking about something abstract. So through simulations, the students will really get the clear idea what they have to do or what they are supposed to do in the workplace.
We have 3 subcomponents within the work orientation component. We have basic job skills, American job culture, and emphasized English as a second language.
Near the end of the 6 weeks, the students participate in the large factory simulation.
Students were trained before the simulation started to perform various tasks. Some people were supply clerks, some people were floor people, some people were trained to assemble the table lamps. In the large factory, we were producing table lamps. So after the initial job training period, we started the simulation. The first station was the supply room.
BB09, 5. BB09.
The supply clerks filled the order forms. The floor persons would carry the supplies to the mechanical assembly area. In the mechanical assembly area, they assemble the mechanical parts of the lamp. The lamp base, the tube. After that point, the floor people would carry the lamps to the electrical assembly station. inserted the cord. They attached the cord to the socket. They attached the cord to the plug.
If you don't understand, you feel free to ask for clarification.
The reason we're doing it is because we want to give them practice in asking for clarification. If they don't understand something, they should ask. Again, it's with a view toward the American workplace, because one of the biggest problems is refugee workers don't ask, or they don't tell their supervisor that they don't understand. And what results from that is a problem for the supervisor and a problem in the workplace.
Here, we put the students into a working place situation. So we hope that the students can use the language that they learn from EESL, and then the skills that they learn from basic job skills, and then the information that they get from American job culture subcomponent. And the large factory simulations, they have break time, and then during the break time they will use the social language that they learn from EESL, and then they use the skills that they learn from basic job skills on the when they are working. And then if they are late, they have to call the supervisor. This one is the information that they get from the American jobs culture subcomponent.
Here's your paycheck for today. Thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Many other products are made at Petco in addition to lamps. They include various sorts of holders and boxes, sewing machine covers, aprons, toys and games for children, and even trash cans for use at the camp. However, the most important products of Petco are the new attitudes of the refugees, the knowledge they gain of American work environments, and their increased ability to speak English and communicate on the job. Another detailed simulation at Galang is the Petco Restaurant.
What are you doing as a cashier?
Do you enjoy your meal? And have a good day. Please come here again.
Please come again. Okay, but what are you doing?
I am get money.
What you are going to see here, a fully functioning restaurant that cooks food and serves it to paying customers, is actually set up and taken down in a matter of a few hours. At other times, the space is used as a regular classroom for other components of the training program. But for now, it's the Petco Restaurant.
Put it here. Table number 2 for here. Table number 3 is there. Okay? Now cook. Yes. Can you come here? And the order from number 1, table number 1, for example, is here. Then you look at the orders. You serve table number 1 first. If it's finished, then you move to table number 2 and 3. Okay? Is everybody ready to open the restaurant?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Great for
Yes, amazing. I give you back.
Are you paying any? Yes, come in. I give you back here in Indonesia.
Please come in. Are you ready to order?
Yes, I am.
What would you like to drink?
I would like carrot cake.
How many?
One.
Anything else?
Yes. Coffee with cream and sugar.
How many?
One.
Anything else?
And French toast.
French toast. How many?
One.
What would you like to drink?
I like orange drink with ice.
How many?
One.
Anything else?
French toast.
How many?
One.
Okay. One coffee plus.
One coffee cream and two orange.
Okay. Four
Three.
toast. Four toasters.
Three French
Four.
toast.
Not three.
Four French toast.
Okay.
One carrot cake.
It's on. You can lower it. What is your question? All right. So how old is it? That's cute. 30. That's a good age.
Here's coffee.
Oh, thank you.
Here's coffee.
Thank you.
How is your food?
Fine, thank you.
Delicious.
The typical things in a workplace are being paid for time that you work. There's concern about time. There's concern about money. There are rules and policies in the workplace. And there's behavior in the workplace which is expected of every worker. All of these things we thought about immediately when we thought about Petco.
Have a good day. Please come again.
Okay, thanks a lot. I will. Bye.
Refugees in Petco are learning what is expected of them when they hold a job. If an employee is sick or can't get to work on time, American employers
Hello, may I
expect
help
to
you?
receive a phone call.
Yeah, this is Chuck. Who is this?
My name is Tun. I cannot go to work today because I have cyst.
What is your last name?
Oh, my last name is Nguyễn.
How do you spell that?
Nguyen.
In the Petco simulation, the students are not required to speak perfectly or to do everything exactly right. The point here is that they must learn to call in if they will be absent or late. And if they don't call in, they receive fines that are deducted from their pay. Financial responsibility is emphasized. Refugees often do not understand the procedures Americans use for keeping track of money. In the United States, many refugees avoid banks, keeping large amounts of cash at home. In Petco, they learn what a bank is and how to use it. They learn how their pay is calculated and what the deductions are for. At the bank, they cash their paychecks and pay bills. They go through the exercise of repaying money loaned to them by the U.S. government for transportation to the U.S. This is to prepare them for actual repayment of their transportation loans when they become employed. When they cash their checks, the bank gives them scrip that is a facsimile of U.S. currency. It has real value at the camp for food purchases, for tickets to the camp movie theater, and for shopping at the Petco department store. The Petco department store, another simulation established in a regular classroom, is stocked with items donated by the training staff on Galang. It is one of the most popular events with the refugees, who make actual purchases and keep what they buy. The refugees enjoy shopping at the department store, while at the same time they are practicing personal and family budgeting. To further prepare refugees for the reality of the U.S. job market, resumes are prepared and job interviews conducted. The resumes show the education and work experience of the refugees, both in Vietnam and Galang.
I can repair piston.
Yeah.
I can repair carburetor. I can repair American and Japanese car.
Yeah.
I can repair distributor.
Yeah.
I can change oil.
Change oil.
I can change tire.
You can change tire.
The resumes are part of the bridge between simulation and reality. The resumes are genuine, to be used by the refugees when they look for jobs in the United States.
My name is Mr. Bredenberg.
My name is Louis.
It's good to meet you.
Finally, the job interview simulation helps the students practice such behaviors as looking the interviewer in the eye, describing previous work experience, and speaking strongly and confidently.
D-U-N-G. I see. Okay. Young. So you're looking for a job, is that right?
Yes.
I see. Where are you from? Where are you from, Young?
I'm from Vietnam.
I see. Okay. Do you have any experience?
The essence of the pre-employment training program and the Petco simulation is to prepare the refugee to be self-reliant in the American workplace. And the critical element is self-reliance, which is a very difficult thing to measure. The methodology that we've used, which is an interactive educational approach, is often misunderstood because it's difficult to see the learning. It's difficult to walk into a classroom and understand what is being learned because in some ways many things are being learned simultaneously.
This kind of pedagogy is nothing revolutionary. It's similar to a pedagogy that good elementary teachers use when they're working with kids in the classroom.
They're learning language, they're learning skills, both job skills and cultural skills, as well as cultural information. For those who are used to seeing a classroom where the teacher is dominant, the student is dominant. And I believe the essence of the educational approach is to put the learner at the center of the learning process and to make them responsible for their own learning and motivated to learn by placing them in environments which are stimulating and exciting to them.
The Petco approach to workplace orientation takes training out of the traditional classroom and into the work setting. By the end of the 6-week Petco simulation, the refugees have a working knowledge of American job skills and have developed a new sense of confidence. The training they receive before coming to the United States provides a relatively tranquil period of adjustment and redirection during the traumatic process of moving into a new culture. What they learn in the Petco simulation prepares the refugees for success in the American workplace.